You know that organizational chart, right? That familiar tree of boxes and lines that shows who reports to whom. Well, what if I told you that chart is just a simple street map? Today, we're going to go way deeper. We're going to find the actual architectural blueprint of how a business really works.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we'll look past that simple org chart and figure out what an organizational model actually is. Then, we'll break down the two main types of work that make any business tick. After that, we'll explore some common design blueprints. And finally, we'll size up the pros and cons of it all. So let's kick things off by getting beyond the org chart. Look, it's great for knowing who your boss is, sure, but it tells you next to nothing about what really matters, how work actually flows, and how your company creates value for its customers.
And this really gets us to the core question, doesn't it? If that chart is just a basic map, then what does the detailed, three-dimensional blueprint look like? How do you actually capture the real mechanics of the business?
Well, that, my friends, is where organizational modeling comes in. This is the real technique for mapping out the roles, the responsibilities, and the structures that connect what people do every day with the company's biggest goals.
And hey, this isn't just some fluffy concept. The Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, or BABOK Guide for short, gives us a solid definition. The key phrase to grab onto here is align those structures with the organization's goals. See? It's a huge shift from just thinking about hierarchy to thinking about purpose.
The slide just nails the difference. An org chart, it shows you titles. An org model, it shows you roles. An org chart shows reporting lines. A model shows the interfaces, the places where work actually gets handed off and real value gets created. It's the difference between a list of names and a true game plan.
So what does this blueprint actually get you? In a word, clarity. You get to define the exact scope of any team. You can map out all the formal relationships. You understand the true functional role for every single person. And, most importantly, you identify those interfaces, those critical connection points where work moves between different parts of the business.
Okay, let's move on. At the very heart of any organizational model, you'll find two basic types of work. The easiest way to think about it is like this. You've got the engine of your business, and you've got the pit crew that keeps that engine running at top speed.
Operating work is everything that directly delivers value right to your customers. It's building the product, making the sale, providing the service. Support work is all the stuff that enables that to happen. Think HR, IT, finance. Both are absolutely critical. You can't have one without the other.
And support work isn't just one big bucket either. It can be a policy function, setting the rules of the road. It could be a champion trying to sell new ideas. It could be a shared service like an internal help desk, or a core resource like a legal team that partners up with different business units. Each one has a totally different relationship with the core operations.
Okay, so now we get the different pieces. How do they actually fit together? Let's take a look at a few of the most common blueprints for structuring the operating work itself.
First up, we've got one of the most straightforward designs out there, the value chain model. This whole approach thinks about work as a straight line.
This is your classic assembly line idea. Work is structured as a sequence, a chain of functions where each one adds a bit of value before passing the baton to the next. Think of manufacturing. Design hands off to production, which hands off to distribution. It's all about that step-by-step flow.
Next, we have something very different and, let's be honest, often a lot more complex, the matrix model. This one really breaks away from that simple, linear flow.
Yeah, this is where things get interesting. In a matrix, you might actually report to two bosses, a functional manager, like the head of engineering, and also a product or project manager. This structure is designed to be super flexible, but wow, it demands some intense cooperation to keep things from getting confusing.
Now let's look at what is maybe the most traditional design, one that you've probably seen a million times before, the functionally oriented model.
This is the classic silo structure. All the engineers are in one department, all the marketers are in another, and so on. It's absolutely fantastic for building deep expertise and standardizing how work gets done within a specific skill set.
And finally, let's check out a model that basically takes that functional approach and flips it completely on its head. This is the market-oriented model.
So here, instead of grouping by skill, you group by customer, or region, or product line. A team might have an engineer, a marketer, and a salesperson all dedicated to, let's say, the European market, focusing all their energy on what that specific segment needs. So, with all these different options, what's the real payoff here? And what are the pitfalls you need to watch out for? Let's get real about the pros and cons of building a true organizational model.
The benefits are pretty powerful. When everyone truly understands the blueprint, communication just gets better, decisions get made faster, processes get streamlined, and you finally stop having 3 different teams accidentally doing the exact same work. It just brings an incredible amount of clarity to who does what.
But, and this is a big but, it's not a silver bullet. These models can sometimes be too neat, too simple. They miss the messy, informal networks where work really gets done. And here's the biggest trap of all. If a model isn't treated like a living thing, it just becomes an outdated snapshot of the past. It becomes an anchor holding you back instead of a guide for the future.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. An organizational model isn't some static map you draw once and then frame on the wall. It has to be a living blueprint, one that you're constantly revisiting, revising, and adapting as your organization grows and changes.
So, we'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you can see beyond that simple org chart, what does your organization's true blueprint, the way work really gets done, actually